Is the new Ram 1500 reliable? We're going to talk about that in today's video. We're going to go over common problems with the new Ram 1500. I'll include a link to the Carl Malone Dodge Ram here in Heber's website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get right into it. When it comes to the new Hurricane engine, there are some big benefits to this powertrain. It is both very efficient and very powerful. Now, the general reliability has actually been pretty good, but there have been some issues. For example, thermostat glitches, where the temperature read is not correct, and then the powertrain ends up overheating because you don't have proper cooling. Another thing that seems to be less of a problem for the 1500, more of a problem for the Wagoneer, but still happening to the 1500, is the turbo leaks that can happen with this new powertrain. And that's pretty much it so far for the engine. The only other thing is some computer program glitches in general, causing the powertrain to just malfunction with the performance. So like the engine's perfectly fine, but the computer systems glitch out, and that's what causes issues. And that actually leads us to the next thing that can be problematic, and that's the transmission. Yes, a Dodge having transmission issues. Who'd have ever thought? That's never been a thing in the past, like never ever. The reality of the situation here is that the 8-speed's actually very reliable. The problem comes down to computer programming glitching out, causing the transmission to do funky things like shift harshly, and potentially causing damage to the transmission. So really what they need to do is fix the computer programming, and most of the issues with this whole powertrain, transmission, engine and all, will be solved. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now, something that's a big plus for the Ram is the overall truck itself is holding up well. Like most modern vehicles, you can have some fit and finish defects and then just some paint defects as well. But generally speaking, the Rams hold up really well. There's a lot of high strength steel with the construction, so it's a little bit of a heavier pickup truck, but that means it's also a more durable pickup truck, which is what you want. Now, one thing that still does slightly suffer from durability is the coil spring suspension. For coil spring suspension, it actually holds up amazingly well, but coil springs will just never be as reliable or durable as leaf springs. So what you can see at higher mileage, especially if you've been towing a lot, there can be some sag with the truck, but this is a very easy fix. You just have to replace the coils. So not great, but also not the worst thing on the planet. Now to the interior of the truck, this is also a place that is actually very, very nice for the most part. Although there aren't really issues with premature wear on seats, for example, there is fit and finish issues. Like, look at this steering wheel piece. You can see it's like mostly glued on there, but it's not perfect. So before you take delivery of your Ram, just make sure to kind of look over the interior, look over all the bits, make sure everything's glued on. And your best bet, if it's not, you might want to just look at a different truck. It's brand new, so it's easy to swap from one truck to the next. Aside from fit and finish, yes, all of this tech that this truck has, the passenger screen I think is on, but yeah, this is causing problems. So here's the deal. Ram literally went from having like a decent sized infotainment system, it was like an 8.4-inch display, to this huge tablet screen, 12 inches plus now, and they went from a mostly analog gauge cluster with a little digital element in the center to full digital. And then the passenger screen is a completely new feature. They didn't have that in vehicles before. They also have camera rearview mirror. This one doesn't have it, but there is a lot more technology that this truck has that they didn't have before. And I think panoramic sunroof is another one. This has always been a thing for the 5th gen Rams, but I don't think it was in the 4th gen. Correct me in the comment sections, but I don't think you could get a panoramic in the 4th gen Ram. I think it was only introduced in the 5th generation. And then you pair that with a bunch of other electronics associated with major vehicle functions like drive modes, for example. Rams have drive modes now, and stuff like your axle lock, and you have an off-road cruise control system, and you can see this is like an extremely techy thing. And again, all of these things are huge changes over a very short period of time. I mean, over the course of the last decade, we went from Ram trucks having a traditional on-the-floor, like mechanical shifter for the four-wheel drive system to fully electronic there, and then we went from analog everything to fully digital for everything. Again, over the course of just a decade. So all you need to know is there can be glitches with this thing, that thing, if you have a camera rearview mirror. Yep, that thing as well. And even glitches with this whole system where perhaps it won't let you go out of the drive mode that you just went into when you want to switch to another one, or the drive line will get stuck. There's just all sorts of ways where the computer can glitch, and so your best bet sometimes is just turning the truck off, locking it, getting out, and getting back in. But that also can be a problem because some of these systems have a parasitic drain on the battery. This is kind of a reoccurring theme with these new vehicles. But anyways, parasitic drain on the battery, which means that you do that and then the truck is just dead. Everything just pulls power from the battery because the systems don't fully shut off, and then you have to get the truck jumped. And then you probably have to get everything reset with the computer because it'll have a bunch of check engine light and all that kind of stuff on the dash. So yeah, lots of electronics added over a very short period of time, and so there's definitely going to be growing pains with making it so all of this stuff works properly. So let's take this Ram for a quick spin, see how this all performs, and then I'm going to give you guys practical advice on what Ram you should buy. Let's set off in the Hurricane Ram, and I will say, guys, I'm excited to review Hemis again next year. That is going to be a fun time. It's good they're bringing that back. And we do have to talk about 26 in this video because I think that is going to be a huge pull for a lot of you, is the 26 model year. Not just because of the Hemi. But first off, this Hurricane, despite not having the sound of the Hemi, is really good powertrain. Again, I've said this time and time again, I'm not a huge fan of Chevy's turbo 4-cylinder. I'm not a fan of Ford's turbo V6s. Like, I think they're good, they're just not great. This is the only turbo engine in a truck that I find compelling because it actually gets good fuel economy, actually, in the real world, and it has really good power delivery. As long as they can figure out the silly computer glitches and, you know, some of the, again, I think there is some stuff with the hardware. That's why you're having, you know, thermostat issues. Again, that's probably both computer and mechanical. And then also having the turbo leaks and everything. If they can get that all figured out and get this reliable, this is such a cool powertrain. It is so fantastic. It's smooth, it's efficient, and I mean, the power delivery is just wonderful. Again, if you haven't had a chance to drive one, go and drive one. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, it doesn't make the sound of a Hemi, but it drives so well. It's really cool. It's got great low end and it's got great top end power too. It's just such a cool setup. I love it, absolutely love it. So, practical advice. In terms of packaging, I think the best Ram out of the entire lineup is the Warlock. Reason being is it gives you the off-road capability, which I think is important to have in a pickup truck, right? Even if you're not gonna do crazy off-roading, it's nice to have the rear locking differential, and it just looks better. It's nice to have the bigger tires that look a little bit more aggressive, that makes the truck just look a little bit cooler. I mean, the Warlock looks just like a Rebel. It has the Rebel suspension and everything. It's basically the same truck. So the Warlock has all the exterior stuff you want, all the mechanical stuff you want, plus it's got the basic screen setup, the basic interior with the basic gauge clusters. So all the electrical stuff that you'll have issues with if you get like this kind of package, this Rebel GT with all the features, you won't have in that Warlock. Like, you might have an electrical glitch here and there, but it's going to be way less. You don't have a silly screen over there, you don't have this giant tablet in the center, you don't have a giant digital gauge cluster. So if you're looking for long-term reliability and a better ownership experience in terms of don't have to take my truck into the shop for random glitches here and there, Warlock, that is the way to go. Now, 2025s have some discounts, and my take is you can right now probably get a big enough discount on 25 to make it worth it over 26 if you're open to the Hurricane. I know some of you just won't be open to the Hurricane, but if you're open to the Hurricane, the discount will offset the extra warranty on the 26s. The 26s, if you don't know, are going to have like a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. Ram is obviously, so if everything that Ram's doing for 26, people think that like, oh, Ram's going back to its roots. They're not. What Ram's doing for 26 is they're bringing back the Hemi so people can go into a dealership and drive the Hemi back to back with the Hurricane. Ram's hope is that when you drive the Hurricane, you're gonna like that more than the Hemi, and you're gonna buy the Hurricane, and not only are you gonna buy it because you like it more than the Hemi, but because it's actually gonna be less money. The Hemi is gonna be an added option, whereas the Hurricane's gonna be a no-cost option, plus the powertrain warranty. That is literally gonna be the entire sales pitch for 2026, if you guys don't know. It's gonna be, yep, you have both options. We're bringing back the Hemi. Go drive both of them. And by the way, 100,000 mile warranty, and the Hurricane costs 1,800 bucks less. I think it's roughly 1,800 bucks. So how that pertains to this video, if you want a Hemi, well, you're gonna have to wait until next year, obviously. If you want a better warranty, well, you're gonna have to wait till next year. The one downside that I see though is the cost, is the fact that, well, you have big incentives and everything, and you'll probably get big incentives 26 down the road, but right off the bat, you're not really gonna, you'll have some dealer discount maybe, but you're not gonna have the big rebates on the 26s. So you'll pay a lot more for the truck. So I think you guys can see how the cost difference would be. But that's a Ram 1500. It's pretty good for a full-size pickup truck. Generally speaking, it's pretty reliable. It just depends on how much tech you add. And so if you get a less techy version of the truck, you're gonna have a much better ownership experience for the most part. You might have some glitches with the powertrain. Understand, they have some stuff to work out with this, but you know, new powertrain is kind of to be expected. So let me know your thoughts.